Very good morning. Myself, Jones, on behalf of Credo Systemz, I'd like to welcome you all for the session today. So, as you already know, for the session today, it's been handled on by our mentor, Mr. 𝗄𝗏𝗃𝗗𝗏. So, I request everyone to join the session throughout. It will be a 1 hour of session. Last 15 minutes, we'll be having QA as well. You can clarify all your queries at the end. So, please stay connected. Without any other further delay, I'm handling it over to Mr. 𝗄𝗏𝗃𝗗𝗏.
Thanks, Jones. Wishing you all very good morning. So my name is 𝗂𝗏𝗃𝗗𝗏. I've been associated with Credos for more than 4 years, and I'm a freelancer. So I'm certified in AWS and Azure. So I do consulting for customers, I do implementation, I do migration, and I also do training. I'm very excited to share the career path for AWS. So we'll get started. So the first topic which you're going to cover is what is cloud, right? Before that, I just want to have a quick introduction about all of you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I do see about 8 people are there. Quick introduction. If you have 2 minutes or 1 minute, that really helps. We'll start with the 𝗖𝗥𝗘𝗗𝗢 𝗦𝗬𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗠𝗭. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's fine. We know that they're not able to hear. Okay, we'll get started. So what you're going to cover is about cloud. What are the key characteristics of cloud? What is the importance of AWS? How AWS is compared with Azure and your Google Cloud, and what is the certification parts? So why should I go for AWS certification? If at all I have to go, what is my career path? So the first.
Sorry to interrupt. Your screen is not visible.
Oh, it's not visible.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes. Now it's clear. Thank you. And participants, you can unmute yourself as well. So in case if you have any queries or if you want to check, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Just a second. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is the agenda. What is cloud? What is cloud characteristics of cloud? What is the importance of AWS? How is the AWS global infrastructure looks like? And what is the certification part? So this is what we are going to cover. So many of you will be new to cloud, many of you will be new to the AWS. So this gives a brief about the agenda for what we are going to cover for today's class. Okay. Question and answers you can reserve for the last section for last 15 minutes. So this next 40 minutes we'll cover this. So what is cloud, right? Cloud computing is a model which enables ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of computing resources. So example of this is nothing but all of us have a Gmail ID. Gmail is hosted on a server in Google Cloud, right? So when there is a need for you to access, you sign in, you access this application. So you don't own anything from a software perspective, application perspective. You just have to get a license. If it is a free user, it's a free file. We all get free. It's all free account we use, which is up to 5 GB. Suppose you want to go as a business user, you have to register. That's a license. That's called a subscription model. It's more of a software as a service. So the cloud is something where you access anything. It could be a computer resource, it could be storage, okay, which is stored somewhere, right? and it is all taken care by the service provider. I'm just giving SaaS as an example. There are other service models. Once you enroll for AWS, you will know this. So you don't, if you look at this Gmail, you don't own anything with respect to application. You just have to have a license and then upgrade of this particular Gmail. The maintenance, all is done by Google. So this is a more of a SaaS service. So similarly, if you look at this particular thing, right? So this is a model for enabling ubiquitous. What is ubiquitous? Ubiquitous means the same. When you try to access from your home, when you access from a mobile, Gmail is still going to be the same. When you have access through Wi-Fi, access through VPN, access through cable, right? Wired network, Gmail is still going to be the Gmail, right? Now, this particular backend, what happens from a Gmail? I'm just taking Gmail as an example. This Gmail is hosted on a server in a data center. That data center, you'll have multiple servers. So based on a algorithm defined by Google, you will have access to that particular server. That because the application is hosted on a server, you will access the application which is hosted on a server. So this is something on the cloud computing. This is different from legacy. Legacy is more of on-premises. You would have heard about on-premises, which is hosted physically in a data center, okay, which has got lot of restrictions in terms of access, okay. But here in a cloud, anybody can access it with some security measures in place. So you will have a common pool of resources which can be rapidly provisioned and added or removed based on the business case. That's how cloud is. If you look at this diagram, can you see these end users? Just take yourself as an example. You access Gmail, correct? Then you log into the Gmail server, gmail.com. You type in your user ID or password based upon whether it is a free user or a business user. And then you try to access the Gmail. So this is how cloud basics is. And when you try to access some resource that is shared across multiple customers. Okay, so they have put some mechanisms in place wherein the security is not compromised. We'll see that when we go into the deeper sections, when you go enroll yourself for the advanced classes. So security will be a question in your mind. Data privacy will be a question. All this will be addressed. Okay, so this is a public cloud. There are multiple characteristics of cloud: public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, hybrid cloud. All this will be more of a deployment model. But this is what is cloud is. So something you're accessing, which is hosted somewhere in the network, in a data center, in a remote location, which we don't know. But when there is a need, you log in and access it. That's how it is. It could be a compute, it could be simple application. You can develop some application, it's a PaaS model, or an infrastructure. So multiple service models are there: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or a SaaS as a service. What I gave an example was a SaaS, service, software as a service. Just an example of Gmail. Gmail is, or Google Apps. Google Apps, Gmail is part of Google Apps, and you can mention that as this one. So this is how the cloud basics is. Okay. Now, what is the characteristics of cloud? Now, it is on-demand self-service. So when there is a need, you log in. That's why I talked about this. Broad network access. You can access Gmail through a variety of mechanisms. Resource pooling. When you get access to the Gmail, that application is hosted on a server. We don't know which server will grant access to you through the application. So it works on a round robin basis. If you look at the rapid elasticity perspective, you can scale up and scale down based on the business demand. So that's a very important characteristic. Measured service, you pay for what you use. Look at your water or the electricity charges. You are paying for how much of water you use or the consumption of the electricity in units. So these are the fundamental characteristics of cloud: on-demand, self-service, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured service. Okay. Next, we'll go to where is AWS in the overall magic quadrant. If you look at this, right, AWS is the gold standard of cloud computing. This is where, can you see this? Look at my cursor. Can you see this? AWS. It's a leader Look at where Microsoft is, look at where Google is. See, we'll come to the market share. Why? Because AWS started this service, cloud services, in the year 2002. As we speak, there are 220 services which AWS is offering to customers in response to the solution to the problems. And every year, AWS host an event called reInvent, wherein AWS go and uh, uh, introduce new products, new services based on the customer need. So how many of you have heard about reInvent? I don't know, but AWS is a market leader. More than 33%, close to 33%. That means out of every 3 jobs, 1 job is related to the AWS. It could be in terms of DevOps, it could be in terms of cloud administration, it could be in terms of DevSecOps, or it could be in terms of data engineer, right? So we'll come to the certification parts, but you can venture into so many areas in AWS. One of the advantage of AWS is it's a pioneer in the cloud computing industry, and it's a number 1 in the cloud computing because they've started much before than what Microsoft and your Google Cloud was. So this is very, very important. This is the magic quadrant. If you look at this X and Y axis, one is the completeness of vision and ability to execute. How is the vision of the customer? Vision is in terms of strategy. What I need to do next 5 years. I'm a customer, I'm the CIO. How is AWS helping me in the transformation journey? If I'm the CIO of the organization, if I'm hosting some legacy applications, and I want to move this to digital, then I'll do a digital transformation. So how AWS is helping customers or CIOs of the organization to move their data into AWS. So that plays a significant role. If you look at the next one, ability to execute. How many such large migrations AWS has done? You have plethora of examples. I myself have been involved in a lot of migrations from on-premises to cloud, and it's a 6-month to 9-month project. So you'll start with a POC, which is a proof of concept. You'll identify applications. First, I will do a study of the complete infrastructure, study of the particular application landscape, security mechanisms, and then I'll come out with a report. These are the applications. This is in terms of the criticality, in terms of the downtime, who are the business owners, whether it is running on legacy, or if it is a hardware problem, legacy is a hardware, or is the application written in Fortran or Pascal, or which needs to be re-architected. So based on that, you'll have multiple migration models, which we'll talk about when you enroll for advanced class. But what I want to say is, the bottom line is, Amazon AWS is a leader in this particular cloud industry. So depending upon, if you want to be a developer, you can go to DevOps role. If you want to do development, operations, and security, then you can have a AWS DevSecOps role. If you want to be a cloud architect, you can have associate level or a professional level. Then you can go for cloud architect, associate level, or cloud architect, professional level. Similarly, DevOps is there. Then security operations is there. DevSecOps is there, right? So you will see, and the system administration is also there. So we'll see, come to the certification standpoint of view, but that's the bottom line. Okay. The nearest competitor to AWS is Microsoft. So they are catching up, but it has a long way for Microsoft to go. Microsoft is more of Azure. Look at this, where we are. This is latest as of 1st of Jan 2024. So every once in 3 jobs, AWS takes care of this. This is from Gartner report. AWS is the market leader. Look at where Azure is, 24%. Google Cloud is 11. Look at the revenue of cloud. So there are close to 74 billion of revenue is at stake. So what does it mean? That means this much of opportunity is there for customers to do a migration to cloud. You have 74 billion revenues at stake, where all the service providers compete. This could be in terms of digital transformation, from where migrating their entire estate to cloud, or it could be in terms of support after migration, or it could be in terms of assessment, right? Or it could be in terms of operation. So multiple roles are there. We will see that. But look at where AWS is and look at other 2%, Oracle, IBM, Salesforce, you have 3%, Alibaba's got 4%. But the top three is AWS, Azure, and cloud. So this itself close to around 70% of the overall revenue is being taken care of by these three service providers. So you should be fortunate to be part of AWS journey. Okay. Now, if you come to AWS, there is something called as regions, availability zones, and you have point of presence, right? What is a region? Region is nothing but a geographical area. Within a geographical area, I have availability zones. For example, you take Mumbai. Mumbai has got 3 availability zones. Mumbai is a region. Hyderabad is a region. Chennai is a region. So when I say that, right, that means you have a region. In that region, you have 3 data centers. And these data centers is called as availability zones. So one region have multiple availability zones. And there are 33 regions are there across the world. If you look at the red dots, can you see the red dots? These are all new regions which is coming up. So close by end of this year, we'll have 40 regions and close to around 150 availability zones. Okay, 150 availability zones. So much of data centers is there. So what I want to say to you guys is anywhere in this world, if I have a business, I will leverage AWS global infrastructure, which consists of regions and availability zones. And these data centers or availability zones are interconnected within a region in a highly redundant way. That is very, very important. Communication is very important. And the data is transferred within the region. It's called as intra-regional communication. So that's the overall thing about. So since it was pioneer, since it was launched in 2002, they have a large presence across the world. So I may have any business anywhere, but I can get hooked on to the AWS global infrastructure. So region, availability zone, and you have edge locations. Edge locations more of, suppose I host a server in California and I have a user in Australia. Then I will have edge location near Australia so that this particular edge server will catch the data from the main server and the user will use this particular server in Australia to access the website. So that's how the edge location is. So can you look at this? 13 regional edge caches are there across the globe. And you have 600 plus point of presence. So this is how this particular AWS is across the globe, right? Now coming to AWS certifications, right? So you look at the multiple things. One is you're from a non-IT background. I work on a manufacturing company. I work on a hospital industry. I want to do the cloud. You don't. They're based on the experience level, based on the knowledge of IT. You can start with multiple certifications. So can you see this? So new to IT and cloud, what should I start with? You have to start with a practitioner course. This will talk about what cloud is, what are the various service models, what are the various deployment models, what is the best characteristics of cloud, how do you compare cloud with on-premise model, right? And why AWS? What is the career path I have? Okay, so this will teach you fundamentals. What is a server? Then what is a this one storage? What is a RAM? What is a CPU? I'm entirely new to what IT is. So you have to start with a practitioner course. It depends upon what kind of knowledge you have. If I'm completely new to IT, then you can start with this practitioner course. This is very, very important. Okay. And suppose you're doing 2 line of business roles. So I'm in marketing, I'm in sales and other business roles, right? One is completely non-IT. Then if you're looking at different roles, sales and marketing has nothing to do with IT. I don't know what computer is. I don't know what this one is, right? Then you can again start with this practitioner course that again validates the foundation knowledge of your AWS. cloud and terminology. So without knowing what cloud is, without knowing what virtualization is, without knowing what a CPU is, what RAM is, right? What is a network? It's very difficult to venture into something which you know, because cloud is an evolving journey. Every year, if you look at this, right, when you get certified yourself, your certification is valid only for 3 years. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. You have to renew the certification of the third year. Why? Because they introduce new features, and you have to know what's happening in the as part of which are introduced by the AWS is in response to the various challenging business demand of the end customers. Based on that, they add new features. So that is very, very important. Suppose you're an IT professional, right? You have some 1 to 3 years of experience. You're from STEM background, just science, technology, engineering, maths background. Then you can start with the associate level. You have some experience, then it is 1 to 3 years. Then it is you have to start with the associate level. You can skip the practitioner level. You can start with the associate level. So we've talked about what is 3 different things. New to IT, you're from non-IT background. Second one, you're in a business role or in a sales and marketing role. You don't know what cloud is. Third one is you are an IT professional with 1 to 3 years of experience. So for the first two, you'll start with the practitioner model. And then for the next one, you will going to start with your associate level. This is the cloud journey. Now, if you look at the parts which you have, one is a solution architect. Can you see this? You start with the practitioner, but you can skip practitioner. You can go directly to solution architect associate level. If you want to do administration on cloud, this is much more advanced where you do design. This is just operations and administration where you design the entire AWS infrastructure, then you go for professional, and you have something called as security. Security is separate. This is the solution architect. Okay, if you look at the application architect, can you see this cloud practitioner? Then you have a solution architect associate. Then you have a developer. Then you have DevOps professional. Developer associate is there, and then professional is there. Can you see the solution architect associate, solution architect professional, DevOps associate, and then you have DevOps professional, and then you have a deep dive. You can do a deep dive using solutions architect professional. This is what this comes here. So basically, all these are interconnected, depending upon what your primary roles and responsibility is. If you want to get into development, the best is DevOps. If you are very good at administration, I don't want to learn coding, go for the first one. First is a course, which is solution architect. So where in solution architect, you design, you develop and manage the cloud infrastructure and assets. But more of design will come in the solution architect professional exam. But more of operations will be in the associate level. That's from the solution architect perspective. If you look at the second one, application architect perspective, where DevOps, CI/CD pipeline, the entire DevOps lifecycle. So you have, I'm sure many of you are aware of what DevOps is, right? So based on that, you have some tools relevant to AWS. That tools you will be learning. And professional is more in terms of how do you implement this, configure a pipeline. That's how the AWS DevOps professional level. So one course is in terms of your solution architect, other one is in terms of application architect. The next course is data engineer. Suppose I am a guy who works on data, right? You have multiple things which are there from a data's perspective. You have big data, you have Snowflake. So there are equivalent services in AWS which helps you to perform operations on data. You have Amazon Redshift. So many such services are there. You can see the this one. Can you look at this? So you have the data engineer associate level. This is the cloud data engineer, where you perform operations on structured data, semi-structured data, and helps you to monitor the data performance. This is the cloud data engineer. This is another third track. First track is more of a solution architect level. Second track is more of a application architect level, DevOps. Third one is data perspective, what you can do with data. The fourth one is completely development engineer. Can you see this? DevOps, developer, DevOps. Then if you go to operations, right, system administration, install, upgrade, and maintain computer components, then you can go for this course. Cloud practitioner, which gives what cloud is. Then you have this SysOps administrator associate level. Then you finally have the DevOps engineer. And DevOps is again, these two are not related, but still, if you learn DevOps, then it helps you to know what SysOps, because it will works in collaboration with these two certification. Then the cloud engineer is this. The next topics is cloud engineer. Implement and operate an organization's network computing infrastructure and implement security systems to maintain data. So we'll come to the security aspect of this. So we have seen what is a architect level, solution architect, application architect, data engineer, development engineer, SysOps, and then cloud data engineer. So this is more from a security perspective. What is the saying? What are the security tools you use? Okay, what are the security tools you use, right? How do you ensure that my AWS environment is secure? What are the services for security? That is that. Then test engineer is used for software development. So developer and then DevOps. This is for testing. So testing DevOps also covers test engineer. See this? And then you have the cloud DevOps engineer, which is design is used for design and development and operations of large scale global hybrid computing cloud environment, end-to-end automated CI/CD pipeline. Finally, you have DevOps engineer, DevSecOps. You have development, you have security and operations combined together. In DevOps, you have only development and operations, but you have security. All three come together. So there are a lot of demand for DevSecOps engineer, which is gaining traction day by day. So this is also a very important. So what you want to be is up to you. If you are a developer, if you want to go into development, that's fine. If you don't want coding, yeah, I want to go only for your what is that? You got only for administration, then solution architect is the best. If you want security, then you have a security ops. When you want to perform the role of a test engineer, again, DevOps is another thing. So DevOps is very, very important. You can go into development, you can go into operations, you can also go into testing. That is very important, right? But I want to learn development, operations, and security. Then you have DevSecOps. That is what it is. And you have this the path for your cloud security engineer. You start with practitioner, SysOps, security. Or if you look at this cloud security architect, same thing. Can you see this here? AWS security specialty. Then if you look at the right one, architect, anything on architect, you need to have professional. That is very, very important. Anything on architect level, you need to have the solution architect professional level. So this is the various no career parts. Okay, and then you also have networking is there, where you design and implement networks like local area network. You are an infrastructure guy, so I recommend you to take this course on. This is more in design and implementation. So where you're going to design for large computers, sorry, for large customers, they want to do a migration. So the infrastructure, very heavy infrastructure topic, that's on the network engineer. Finally, the latest thing which is going on is machine learning engineer, where you research, you build AI systems to automate predictive models. So it uses NLP, natural language processing algorithms, to define a data model. You have to define a model, define the prototype, and then you have to implement this. So this is the latest thing which is happening in the industry. Okay, so these are the various career paths which we have from a AWS perspective. It all depends upon what you need to accomplish, what is your core competency, what do you want to be next 5 years. So trust me, people, students. So next 5 years, cloud is going to be the buzzword. Many customers I'm interacting with, I'm working with, they are doing the migration, they're doing a digital transformation, they are doing a lift and shift from on-premises to cloud. That is one, migration. Second thing is in terms of operations, where the entire thing is administered by a cloud administrator. It could be in terms of EC2 instances, if it is AWS, or it could be in terms of virtual machines, in terms of Google Cloud and Azure. but overall it is this one. Similarly, if you look at DevOps, I'm very good at on-premise DevOps. The concept is same. The fundamental concept of the DevOps lifecycle is thing. Only the tools and the processes and the services and the corresponding services are different from a AWS perspective. But the end result is still build a pipeline. How do you do it in on-premises and how do you do it this one? The processes will be the fundamental concept is same. The process will be different because the tools are different. Okay. So then you have this security. Security is also very important. Lot of cyber things are taking place in the cloud, right? So hackers are one step ahead of us. They try to monitor the data. They try to encrypt the data, decipher the data. They have a lot of tools which they use on the cloud to get information to observe what's happening. They do the packet capture and then try to play around with the data. So one of the important things from cloud perspective is how do you encrypt the data? What is the encryption algorithm you're going to follow? So all this will be taught in parts of the AWS security this one. So when you encrypt the data, it is very difficult for a hacker to decipher the data unless you have a key. It works on a public key, private key. So everybody will have a public key. You and me will have a private key. Okay, it could be this key could be managed by AWS, it could be managed by customer, or it could be managed by both. So the different things are that you will see that when you go enroll yourself for a certification security course. AI/ML is another thing which works on the predictive model. It helps you to design prototypes, model the systems, and again, this is where another thing where the future is going towards. Okay. So this will cover so half an hour. I give a overview of what AWS is. You've seen what are the characteristics, what is cloud computing, what are the characteristics of cloud computing. Then we have seen what is where AWS is in the Gartner model. Why AWS is number one? Because currently, if you go through any Google search and find out AWS, and you have 220 services. I'm not saying all the 220 services are important, but what is important is in terms of knowing the fundamental services. You should know from a compute what are the important services. Without knowing that, you cannot do any of these courses. Without knowing what EC2 is, without knowing what S3 is, without knowing what VPC is, and without knowing what RDS is, you cannot complete any of these courses because these are fundamental from a compute perspective, from a storage perspective, from a database perspective, network. These four are very, very important. Storage, compute, networking, and database. How do you build it on top of it? How do you want to venture? What career path you take? It's all up to you. So with this, I'll stop and I'll answer questions. Over to you, team. Questions, please. But do you have any clarifications on the topic I've taken? Let me know. Any clarifications on what certifications you can connect with me? And then anything you need, let me know. What is the guidance you need from me? I'm more than happy to help you out. You can connect after, not only during this time, but also during the time which you can connect with Jones and I can help you to guide you. I'm there to help you out, but the future is cloud. I want to make it very clear. And within cloud, it is AWS. Over to you, team, for the questions.
Hi Ganapati, this is Thirumal.
Yeah.
So if you join solution architect course, then is there any guidance from you to get or to clear the examination, AWS examination?
So what I will do as part of that, Thomas, it's a good question. So I will cover the topics. Then there'll be a deck which I'll be sharing it. You can use this deck, right? And also I will guide you what kind of questions you will get in the examination. Okay.
Okay.
Things I will help you to. One is on the concepts. Then you can the training material in terms of the PPTs. Then what questions I'll give a guidance to you, right? If you want a specific thing, then there's separate thing which because I'm on the board of this one AWS for setting up the question papers. So it doesn't mean that whatever questions I set you will get, but I am a part of around 1,000 people and across the globe who are involved in setting question papers for all the AWS papers. So uh, uh, but I can give you a guidance on what type of questions you'll get, not the same question. The type will be same. It could be in terms of match the following. It could be in terms of drag and drop. It could be in terms of choose the best answer. It could be in terms of scenario-based questions, right? They'll give a scenario and then ask you to, you understood, right? Because these are all, because we all work under the guidance. But I will
Okay.
not be able to reveal the exact questions because I've signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. You agree? But
Yeah.
whatever I tell, if you follow it, you'll pass it.
Okay.
Specifically in terms of books you want, then you can speak to me offline. I'll guide you on the books. Okay. But
Okay.
100% you can pass. But see, if you look at any institute or any organizations you apply as a cloud engineer, right? The first question they ask is, are you certified in AWS certification? Do you have AWS certification? Then only your profile gets shortlisted. How many of you have seen that? If you're not shortlisted, if you're not steady, that means you're not taken your time, you're not taken your effort to do the certification to enrich your knowledge. You understood, right? So what many people think is that I will get a job in Infosys. Then after that, I will learn and acquire the certificate. That's not going to help. Every minute you lose, every day you lose, it's going to be a problem for you. It's a very competitive world, Dharma. You know what I'm trying to say. For one job, there are about 1,000 applicants or 10,000 applicants. So what distinguishes Thirumal from the rest of the thing, right? Your attitude, your communication, your technical strength, and your certification. This is what, and are you equipped to do that particular role, right? Do you have the technical expertise for that role? You understood, right, Thirumal? This is what an organization
Yeah.
looks. I worked in a lot of companies before doing freelance. I worked in TCS, I worked in Infosys, I worked in Cognizant, I worked in Wipro. So when I know what these organizations are looking for. So unless you spend your time, effort, trust me, there'll be return on investment. So I spend 10,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. Everybody wants return on investment. What is the return on investment then? One is a guaranteed job. And if you look at the career progression, Thiruma, compared to normal engineer, either it could be a DevOps engineer or it could, with respect to cloud, at least 20% more you get what the normal engineer will get. Because this is a digital technology. We all go into digital. You understood, right? Cloud is digital, right? Cloud is digital. IoT is digital. Data science is more from a digital perspective. The transformation which you're working on is digital, right? So that is the X factor you have. You understood, right? So I think I answered your questions, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
You can also reach out to Jones with this number 9600-112-302. Specifically with the website, you want to discuss something in private, we are more than happy to help you out. But think about it, what you want to be. Because it's a competitive world. Again, I'm repeating. Trust me, this is what the organizations are looking for. That is very, very important. Right? In addition to the technical skills, again, I'm saying there are the soft skills which are looking at. Right, in terms of decent communication. You don't have to be from an Oxford. You need not be from Oxford written in talking some English, right? You need is simple plain English, which you need to convey to the customers and to the organization. Yes. Yes. Auron, you're saying something?
Yeah, team, if you have any doubts, you can ask in Tamil as well. English la dhaan கேட்கணும்னு இல்ல. உங்களுக்கு Tamil comfortable னா அதுலயும் நீங்க கேட்கலாம். No issues. If no other doubts, we can close the session, Ganapati.
Okay, thank you all. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you
you.
for your
Thank you.
Thanks, Ganapati, for the wonderful session.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, participants, for joining even on a weekend day. So, as I already shared in the comment section, you can get your participation certificate. So, please fill the form which is given in the comment section. Also, if you have any further queries, if you want to discuss with us in person, any queries need to be clarified regarding AWS, you can reach out to the given number as well. So stay connected with us. We are planning for many webinars in every weekend in in-demand technologies. Last week we had Azure. Before that we have DevOps. Today we done for AWS. Tomorrow we have for API automation testing. So please stay connected. You can join the WhatsApp groups as well to get the meeting link about the upcoming webinars as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining and all the very best here.
Thank you, team. Thanks. Bye.